It's midnight, and you plug your phone in beside the bed and leave it there till the alarm. And a new phone climbs to 80% and stops. It waits there for hours and finishes the last 20 just before you wake up. It's not charging slowly, and it's not saving electricity, and nobody asked it to do that. Your phone's own help page says it's doing it on purpose to avoid something. So your phone's avoiding a thing you've been doing to it every night for years. And I don't think it's the charging. And everybody believes the same thing about a phone battery, and I did too. You get a certain number of charges out of it, and then it's finished. So a charge is the thing you're spending, and you should spend as few of them as you can. And the people who make the phones publish that number. Apple says an iPhone 15 battery should still hold 80% of what it started with after 1,000 full charges. So hold the advice up against that. Charging overnight is 1 charge, and topping it up twice in a day is 2. So if a charge is the thing that wears your battery out, then the night's the cheap option, and everybody warning you off it has got it backwards. And they haven't got it backwards. They're right about the night and wrong about why. They're right because a battery wears out 2 different ways, and only one of those 2 counts anything at all. The first one's obvious. You move charge in and out. Every trip does a little damage, and that's the one the 1,000 is about. But the second one needs no charge moving anywhere. A battery in a drawer, switched off, plugged into nothing, still loses capacity. And it loses it just by sitting there at whatever level you left it at, in whatever temperature the room happens to be. The people who study batteries call the first one cycle aging and the second one calendar aging, because the calendar is the only thing the second one needs. And your phone on that bedside table, sitting at 100% from 1:30 until the alarm, is doing the second one for 5.5 hours. And somebody has measured what that costs. Take 2 identical cells, keep them both at 25 degrees, use neither of them for a year, and the only difference between them is the level you left them at. The one left at 40% comes back with 96% of its capacity. The one left full comes back with 80. So that's 4 points against 20 out of the same year, with nothing plugged in and nothing running, which is 5 times the damage for doing nothing at all. And Battery University, who published those tables, write one sentence underneath them: high temperature and a long spell at a full state of charge can be more stressful than cycling. So standing there full is worse for your battery than being used. And a number on a screen shouldn't be able to change what a chemical does. But the same people measured one more thing, and it finishes the charge count off completely. They ran cells through different depths and counted the round trips. Take a cell all the way down and all the way back up, and you get about 300 of those. Take it through the middle 20% instead, and you get about 2,000. So now multiply, because a shallow trip moves less charge each time. 300 deep trips push 300 batteries worth of energy through that cell. 2,000 shallow ones push 400. 10% nibbles push 600. So the habit that looks wasteful, plugging in every time you walk past a charger, actually gets more energy out of your battery than the careful one does, roughly twice as much at the shallow end. So your charges were never the budget. The level was. So why would the level cost anything at all? Inside your phone's battery, there's a graphite sponge on one side, and charging pushes lithium into it. So a full battery means a full sponge. And a full graphite sponge sits at its lowest electrical potential, right down near the potential of lithium metal itself. And anything sitting that low gives its electrons away to whatever's touching it. The liquid the whole cell sits in is the only thing there to take them. So a full battery slowly reduces its own electrolyte, and every electron it hands over adds a little more film to the graphite, and the lithium that gets locked into that film never comes back out. The people who measured this went looking at the other electrode first and found almost nothing there. They say electrolyte oxidation and metal dissolution seem to play only a minor role. It was the graphite the whole time, and past about half full, the sponge crosses over and the reaction speeds up. So that film grows on the clock, and the clock runs all night, which is why your phone stops at 80 and waits. Google's help page for the Pixel says it in one sentence, and that sentence is the whole video this setting completes charging right before you typically unplug. So your phone isn't at 100% for a long time. And then it gives the reason. This can strain the battery long term. Apple says the same thing in its own words about reducing the time your iPhone spends fully charged, and both of them watch you for about 2 weeks before they'll turn it on because they have to learn when your alarm goes off. So your phone has believed all of this for years, and it never said so out loud. And there's one way the daytime habit loses. A phone charging in a hot car or under a pillow gets warm, and a warm battery ages faster at the same level, so you hand back what you saved. Battery University calls a full battery at a high temperature the worst situation of all. So go back to the bedside table and count the hours instead of the charges. Your phone gets to 100% in an hour and a half, maybe 2, and then it stands there until the alarm. Call it 6 hours a night every night, which is about 2,000 hours a year, about 90 days. So for a quarter of every year, your phone is holding the one level its chemistry charges the most for, and it isn't charging for any of it. The charger's pushing nothing in, and the phone's pulling nothing out. The screen's off, the room's dark, and a film is thickening on a piece of graphite about the size of your fingernail. Everybody told you to count the charges. Your phone spent 2 weeks learning when your alarm goes off, so that the number it actually cares about could get as close to 0 as your night allows. And that number was never the charges. It's the hours it has to stand at the top of its own range, in the dark, doing nothing. Everything you just figured out rests on something deeper, and that's the next video, so start there. Would you rather understand your computer than just use it? Then subscribe, and I'll see you next time, further down the stack.